Hey guys, welcome to Healthy Life Designing. I'm your host, Dee. Today we are talking about unhealthy relationships. While there are many types of unhealthy relationships, we are specifically speaking of the relationships that can leave more than just scars. Domestic violence happens everywhere. In fact, statistics that come from the Ohio Domestic Violence Network say that every 9 seconds a woman is abused in the USA. 1 in 3 women will be abused in their families. And for men, 1 in 4 men have been victims of physical violence. These statistics come from the Ohio Domestic Violence Network. And today, I want you to learn more about how to protect yourself from developing unhealthy relationships. Our guest today lost her one and only daughter, Stephanie J. Seifert, to an act of domestic violence. Stephanie lived through years of jealousy and the controlling personality of her ex-husband, who eventually took her life in October of 2012 in Lancaster, Ohio. And not only did Stephanie Seifert lose her life that day, but her friend, Officer Randy Bartos, lost his life as well. While Stephanie is no longer with us, her story is shared through her mother, Judy Seifert. Judy Seifert is the president, director, and founder of Steffi's House, a command center to get the tools, contacts, and information to empower victims to become survivors. When we come back, Judy Seifert will be joining us and talking about her story.
Hi, I'm Amanda Wattenberg, Regional Director at Ohio Guidestone. Do you or does someone you know have a substance abuse disorder? Have you been thinking about getting help but don't know where to start? It takes a lot of courage to ask for help, but it's the most important step you can take. If you think you know everything that's available in Fairfield County, think again. Like other chronic diseases, addiction can be managed successfully. Treatment enables people to counteract addiction's powerful, disruptive effects on the brain's behavior and regain control of their lives. Even if it takes multiple attempts, treatment does work and people do recover from addiction every day. So keep trying because your life matters. You matter, and we're here to help. Call 211 and ask for the treatment resources available right here in Fairfield County.
This message is brought to you by the Fairfield County Adam H. Board.
So Judy, thank you for being here today. I wanted to kind of start off with some of the unhealthy behaviors that you might have noticed or picked up earlier on with your daughter's ex-husband.
He was aggressive with other men. He was into a fight over the drop of a hat. He was that way from the time he was 15. He was funny. He made everybody laugh. Everybody liked him. His employees loved him. He came into our family at 15. And not knowing anything about domestic violence, I did not see anything out of the ordinary with him other than he seemed jealous of Stephanie.
And what was her personality like?
Stephanie was friendly. She spoke to everyone. She was outgoing. She was on the honor roll through school. She would be teacher's helper. She was cheerleader. She had a group of friends. They hung out, and just a regular teenager.
So you didn't notice, all of the time, that he would spend at your home years ago, how they interacted. There wasn't any big red flags that you guys saw, when they're out and about among other people.
Not as a teenager. As a teenager, she, one thing we did notice, once she started getting serious with him, spending a lot of time with him, she stopped spending time with her friends.
Right.
She only wanted to do things with him. she would stay home waiting on phone calls and waiting on him. And since she's passed, her friends would tell me from school that he forbade her to be with her friends.
Right.
And she's in my home, and we are not aware of all of that.
Well, and those are some of the unhealthy behaviors of, when you start to isolate yourself, when you are no longer making plans with your friends, and, feeling guilty that you can't go and do these things because you've been maybe manipulated or brainwashed into thinking things about these people maybe placed in your mind that they're not really true, but it's that person that's manipulating you in the moment that you don't realize it when you're in it, and then you live it, and then it just becomes a habit.
Her friends from high school have told me that she told them when they would notice her, kind of a distance with them, that she was instructed not to talk to this boy, not to do this, and she followed that.
Right. Well, and when you're young too, you love somebody, you get caught up in it, and you don't realize. I have a few friends that have been in these situations, and I've experienced a little bit of it myself in a relationship growing up. And I remember, I'm feeling familiar feelings with this conversation too of, I remember not wanting to go and hang out with certain friends and being by the phone, like you mentioned. I actually was that person at one point, and happy to say, I got over that relationship and moved forward. But what was it that motivated you to start Steffi's House?
When Stephanie was killed, she was our only child. I've been told it doesn't matter if you have 1 or 6, the feeling's the same. I kind of felt like because she was our only child, his wife was so hard on us and still is. But I'm told that people that have 6 children and lose one, and the mother and father the other 5 kind of suffer because mom and dad are going through this great time of grieving and sadness. But with us, at our funeral, our pastor, Pastor Dwayne Pyatt, he told us, challenged us as a family to give purpose in tragedy. And a friend of mine came to me maybe 6 months, 8 months after Stephanie died and said, "Have you ever considered opening a shelter?" Mm-hmm. And I thought, well, that would be good. Wouldn't want to have another mother feel like I feel,
right,
and a family to have this happen to them, if we can do that. And that would be a great way to honor Stephanie and her legacy. And so the more I checked into a shelter, I realized I'm not someone who could do a shelter. So we have a crisis center where we get our clients to the contacts, the information, and whatever is going on in their life, we help to connect them to that agency. Right now we get calls for domestic violence, homelessness, mental health issues, and we got one for child abuse. Had 2 young men in my office yesterday, the dad trying to get custody of his children. So it's not just women that get abused.
Right.
Sometimes the women abuse the men.
The men.
And men are, because they're men, I think it's harder on them to come forward because they're embarrassed that they've let this happen to them and they're a man.
Right. What are the steps if somebody feels like they're in danger or their life, could be in jeopardy? What happens? Say that I am, experiencing something or unhealthy things that I'm starting to really second guess myself. If I call in, what are the steps that would happen afterward?
When you call Steffi's House, we have the booklet from the Ohio Domestic Violence Network with all of the shelters. Since doing this since 2014, we have a large list of contacts. And so what we do, we have a victim advocate. And if you need professional advice, we connect you with Audie our victim advocate. But if you've just called in for general help and questions, then I go and I find all the contacts. After you share your story with me, I send you lots of options. We don't want to box someone in.
Right.
We tell them what this organization offers, what this organization can do for you. And we always strongly suggest they go to our website and look at that safety plan, because when women decide it's time to get out, that's when they're the most vulnerable to be hurt if they're serious. They always feel they're serious, but statistics show that it takes 9 to 10 times for them to leave this abuser, with the 10th time being the time most likely they're really going to do it. And so they need to realize when they're serious about leaving, then they're in grave danger. Stephanie was divorced 5 months, and she falls right into the category of these statistics that that's when you're the most vulnerable to be hurt.
Right. And I don't think I have it here with me, but you also have a small little piece of paper that you guys have that are in different locations. What did we call that? What did you call that?
It's we had it printed up on waterproof paper, and it's just to alert women. It's got a little paper punch hole on it. We put it on a hook and we give it to organizations, businesses, and they place it in their bathroom, women's bathroom. And when they're alone, it has all of our information. And if they feel that they need to talk to someone and they can't do it because he's with them so much, then there's a chance to slip it in your purse or your bag. And
Right, it goes unnoticed. And you, like you said, it's waterproof. I just really want to thank you for being here and sharing a little bit about Steffi's house. And I know we didn't get into a lot of the big details with your story. I wanted to just try to really get right to it and put it out there for people and know the seriousness of when you are in an unhealthy situation, listen to your instincts, because I know for myself looking back, I had the instincts, and Judy and I spoke about this earlier on, that I know I chose not to listen to those back when I was younger because of all of those things that had maybe been planted in my head, pushing everybody close to me away. It's not what you want to do. In fact, I think reaching out to those people closest to you is the scariest thing, because you feel embarrassed and insecure. Why would this happen to me? But get in contact with Steffi's house. If you have questions about anything, or if you need to talk to somebody, like she mentioned, there is a victim's advocate, but you have, you guys are affiliated, or you have contact with how many different shelters? 70?
all of the shelters in
All
Ohio.
of the shelters in Ohio. So is it steffishouse.com?
It's steffishouse.org.
steffishouse.org for any other information, and you can also check out their Facebook page at Steffi's House. Right?
Yes.
When we come back, we will be inviting pro MMA fighter, personal trainer, and self-defense instructor, Chelsea Lagrasse, to the show. She is here to share some of her story of being a victim of domestic violence and how she now teaches others how to protect themselves. More when we come back.
At Dagger Law, we have more than 110 years of combined expertise in nearly every part of law.
What I think sets us apart from any other law firm is our ability to work together.
With us, you're getting a trusted partner, in addition to a team who can help you with a growing business, changing family, planning your future, or dealing with land issues.
It's a challenge every day, and you meet an awful lot of nice people.
Your case matters. We'll take the time and the energy to ensure that you have a quality experience, quality representation.
Whatever you need, we have a lawyer who can help. Dagger Law. Local, trusted, experienced. The Frankie Smith Funeral Home and Crematory in Lancaster and the Johnson Smith Funeral Home in Baltimore have a long and wonderful history of serving our community. Feel free to give us a call at 740-653-0652. Stop in and see us at either of our 2 locations, 405 North Columbus Street in Lancaster and 207 South Main Street in Baltimore. Respect for tradition, regard for change.
Welcome, Chelsea, to the show. Thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
What motivated you to start the MMA, self-defense, kind of your whole story?
So I was married for a few years, and it was an abusive relationship, and then I finally got away from that and started getting back to doing things on my own, and I really wanted to learn self-defense because I didn't want to ever be in that situation again. So I went to a local gym in Lancaster to start learning self-defense, and they taught jiu-jitsu and kickboxing and MMA, and I just jumped right into it and fell in love with it. And yeah, a lot of the other people there that I was training with were competing, and so I wanted to try it too, naturally, and the rest is history.
Chelsea is now my self-defense instructor. She also is my personal trainer, but I have learned so many different things in working with you. So for instance, now I know, if somebody comes up and they grab me by my wrist and they start pulling at me, or if they come up behind me, and put their arm around my neck, or even when they push me to the ground and get on top of me. You've kind of walked me through and break it down in steps for me to better understand how that works.
Yeah. There's all kinds of dangerous situations that you could possibly find yourself in, and I try to teach different things for different situations, and we talk about how it's not always going to be pretty and it's not always going to be cut and dry, but the key is to be in that mindset of fighting back and not giving up and standing up for yourself and learning different little tricks here and there to help keep you safe. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot to it, and you've learned that you got to keep practicing it over and over and for it to stick, but there's lots of cool things that you can learn.
And speaking of learning, for the self-defense, Chelsea not only is a personal trainer and can teach self-defense, but she is a pro MMA fighter. What's that like? And, can you compare what your personality, what you were like before you kind of stepped into that role?
Yeah, I was definitely more of an introverted, quiet person.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know if introverted is the right word.
Okay.
I mean, when I'm around the right people, I'm very outgoing.
Okay.
But around people that I don't know and being in front of large crowds, that was not something that I wanted to do.
Right.
But it's definitely changed a lot of that for me, because now I'm in the spotlight and I'm fighting in front of thousands of people and doing interviews, and so it's definitely helped me come out of my shell a little bit more and be more confident. And the MMA itself, the sport, has definitely made me more confident in myself and who I am, and just being safe when I'm out in public and things like that.
And that right there is just very inspiring. I mean, if other people can see, there is light at the other end of the tunnel, and putting yourself out there to explore something different for yourself is one thing, but to gain all of the courage and the confidence that you get after being in a domestic relationship, I think that's amazing, and
yeah, it's huge. A lot of women don't come out the other end of it the way that I did, so I'm definitely fortunate.
And you've been able to travel. You've gone all the way to Japan.
Yeah, Japan and Vancouver. Those are the two farthest places that I've got to go, but that was pretty awesome. It was a very cool experience, being in a different culture and having to have a translator for everything, and just the fans over there are very into MMA, so they were always coming up and trying to talk to you and interact with you, so it was very cool.
What would you tell your younger self, that person that had been experiencing abuse in your marriage? What would you tell her now?
I think that going through that experience was something that had to happen in my life for me to be the person that I am today. Mm-hmm. But I wish that I would have maybe stopped it sooner than what I did, because we were together for 4 years total. So I feel like it could have been done sooner. And so as my younger self, I would probably tell myself to be more assertive for yourself. Don't be so passive. Stand up for yourself, because you are worth it and you deserve it. And yeah, you're capable of anything that you put your mind to.
And if you're not lucky enough, like me, to be able to hunt Chelsea down to work with her, you do offer training online.
I do, yeah. Yeah, so I have training at my studio in Carroll, and I do the one-on-one training, personal training in self-defense and boxing and nutrition coaching. But if you're not local, then yes, I do all that stuff with people online as well.
And the great thing about the online is it's, you may not have the actual person right there to physically show you, but Chelsea she does a great job in breaking the steps down. And even just, I think, watching a few, just to sponge a little bit in your mind, because if you are put in that situation and you don't have any experience, maybe something will have stuck back there, and anything little can help when you are put in a situation.
Definitely. Any little bit helps. So, and the online training, it might not be, you don't get that in-person, face-to-face connection, but there's a lot of accountability and talking throughout the week to make sure that things are on the right track and making sure that form is correct. And it's just nice that you have flexibility in your schedule to do the workouts whenever that you want to.
Right. And that's exactly how I feel this has turned into a workout for me now, because I initially was interested in learning the self-defense, but then after working with you, I just fell in love with all of it. And even though I'm a trainer, we all need something to boost us, and we all can lack confidence. It doesn't matter what your occupation is. And it has gave me so much confidence and courage to really step out and try something different. And I know I'm hard on myself if I don't get something right away, because there's lots of this and lots of feet movement, and you have your core.
There's a lot to remember.
Yeah. But it can help with imbalances. What are the physical benefits?
Yeah, so a lot of people that start doing self-defense and I introduce them to the boxing and kickboxing, they fall in love with that. And it's a great workout. It forces you to work on your cardio, your endurance, your focus, reaction time, your balance, coordination, all of those things. So it kind of encompasses all aspects of physical health.
Yeah, I love it. I love all of it. Well, now that we know some of the unhealthy behaviors that present themselves but can lead to more than just putting someone in the hospital, remember, check out Steffi's house. They have helped thousands of women, and they have access to shelters all over Ohio to get you resources you need or someone to talk to. Sometimes all we need is validation, but listening to your body and recognizing the unhealthy behaviors. Protect yourself. Find someone who teaches self-defense, like Chelsea Lagrasse. This, for me, led into a whole new fitness. I'm more empowered. I have more confidence. I now have tools to defend myself. Again, thanks so much for watching. Thank you, Chelsea, for being here.
Thank you.
And we will see you soon.